It is my pleasure to interview tonight two of our very dear friends, Hilary and Stuart Adamson, better known as the Flyin A's. They are here tonight from Austin, Texas. Yeah. Hilary and Stuart grew up in Austin and San Antonio, respectively, and you can hear their Texas roots in all that they do. Just putting the finishing touches on their brand new Americana album, No Holds Barred. Is that album number 5?
Well, it's our 5th project together because I started off as his harmony chick.
Okay.
So it's our 4th Flyin A's project.
Okay, got it, okay. Well, this high-energy duo is famous for their top-notch songwriting, breathtaking harmonies, and exceptional live performances. Their previous album, You Drive Me Crazy, was selected on the 2017 first-round Grammy Ballot for Best Americana Album. That album took them on tour around the U.S., Great Britain, Europe, and to New Zealand. Stuart Adamson's outstanding lead guitar work is some of the finest picking to ever grace the stage at the Kerrville Folk Festival, and that's saying a lot. Hilary's vocals are both soulful and powerful. But the reason they're here tonight is for their songwriting. Their songs leave no doubt that they write what they mean and they live what they say. And these heartfelt, heart-grabbing lyrics are framed in strong melodies and beautifully executed harmonies, grounded in solid, thumping grooves and immaculate lead and rhythm guitar. These guys will demonstrate that it is still possible to write songs that matter at a relationship level, at a local community level, and at a cultural and social level. You're going to love them. So please give a warm Schreiner University welcome to Hilary Claire and Stuart Adamson, the Flyin A's.
Thank you all.
So let's kick it off with a song, your choice.
All right.
Okay. Do you want
I Won't Stop Loving You.
Okay.
This song is the title track of our latest album called You Drive Me Crazy. We are partners in life, in music, and in business. So sometimes you got to fight for what you love on many levels.
I've got arms that want you, eyes that love what they see. I want to hold you and never set you free. This world may shake me, try hard to break me, but I won't stop loving you.
Drive me crazy, lock me up and throw away the key. Your touch can save me, mesmerize and take me. This world may shake me, try to break me. I won't stop loving you. All right, baby, what you got? Guitar tonight.
Your lips are golden honeysuckle, straight from the vine.
You leave me pausing each time you tell me you are mine. This world may shake me, try hard to break me. I won't stop loving you.
I love you, baby. Yeah, I love you, baby. I do. This world may shake me, try hard to break me, but I won't stop
loving
Oh, man, it's so fun to hear you guys again. It's only been a couple of weeks, and I'm just like, oh, this is so exciting. Okay, well, let's get the vitals out of the way. First, what are the names on the birth certificates?
Oh, like my real official?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, this is my real name by law, but now, Hilary Claire Tompkins.
Okay.
And I'm named after Hilda and Clarence Tompkins, my my dad's parents. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
What about you, Stuart?
Stuart Frederick Adamson. Frederick was my grandfather's name on my dad's side.
Okay.
And Stuart was just a name that, I was almost Scott, but
Almost,
they decided
yeah.
on Stuart.
Yeah. Yeah, it was almost Sherry. Okay.
I was almost Daisy. I grew up with Daisy Weeks around, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow. I'd be wearing short shorts and really dark pantyhose.
Right. Uh-huh. And places, where were you born?
I was actually born in La Crosse, Wisconsin. When people ask where I'm from, I say a jalapeno cheesehead. And then if you want to know more, I can explain it. But my family lived in Minnesota, but the nearest hospital was across the bridge, the Mississippi, in La Crosse. And I come from a long line of Minnesotan farmers, actually. And my dad moved me to Texas when I was just 5. So I've grown up here, but my extended family are up there. So we actually tour there every year.
I like that. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm from all over.
So where were you born,
I was
Stuart?
born in Asheville, North Carolina.
Isn't that a great town?
It is a beautiful town. Dad was born in Waxahachie and raised in Abilene. And Mom was born and raised in San Antonio. Older brother and sister born in Houston. Younger sister and I born in North Carolina.
Oh,
He would have been a 5th generation Texan, but oh well.
Yeah, and my parents moved back to Texas when I was 6.
Okay. And now, the two of you have something in common with Bill and I, Bill and me. We met, all of us, you guys met at the Kerrville Folk Festival, as did we. So tell us about how your meeting. So.
This is how I remember it.
This is one version.
Yeah, actually, I think she actually didn't remember the first time we actually met there. I mean, it was still during that same festival, but.
So I was sitting at Camp Inertia getting a guitar lesson from my friend Candace Kuntz, and then who was the other person there?
Oh, I can't think of his name.
Anyways, another artist who had just walked off main stage. He's a real cool guy, and I was just there for song school. I bought a guitar just because I played piano, but they're really hard to carry around. And my whole goal was to not be afraid to completely suck out loud, because I didn't play guitar. I was writing songs and singing to my dog, and I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it now. So I went to song school and for the daytime, and then in the afternoons, I would memorize what I saw other people do on their instrument. And like Lloyd Maines and Terry Hendricks, who are now friends of ours, they were showing a girl a D and a G chord. So I went to my tent and I wrote a G and a D chord song and then presented it the next day. It was not stellar. But my goal wasn't to be great. It was just to get out there and do it. So I was taking a guitar lesson, and this guy walks up and he's like, "Let's jam." And I'm like, "Oh my God, like, I don't even know how to play." And so my friend just whispers in my ear, she goes, it was Drew Nelson, that's who's there. And she whispers, they both whisper in my ear, they go, "Just copy that D and the G chord, and then just pretend to play everything else." So I did that. And then I was last in the song circle, so they got to me, and so I flipped my guitar over, and I played percussion and did a song I had written at home.
You. Yeah.
Guitarless. Anyway, Stuart remembered that and was looking for a harmony singer, and now I got a husband, a new career, playing music, and all that jazz. So, who knew, Kerrville?
Well, actually, when we kind of got to know each other was one of those late night where it just pours down rain at Kerrville.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And we were at Camp Cabana, and there was a bunch of us, Flash and a bunch of other people, just hanging out until the sun came up.
Yep.
Just having a great time.
Waiting out the rain.
Yep. So that's how we met, and then this led to that.
Yeah. Okay, so I love the story about Flyin A's.
Oh, when we first got together, we were Tompkins and Adamson. We were our own artists, and we were playing together. And we tried to get a gig at Pootie's Hilltop, Pootie is Willie Nelson's longtime road manager. He was at the time. And he calls me from the golf course and he goes, Hilary, I'm going to be honest. We've been talking this over the golf game. We really like your music. We think you guys are great. But Tompkins and Adamson sounds way too much like a law firm. So the only way I'm going to book you is if y'all will play as T and A.
That's a true story.
And I told her, I'm like, we got to think of a new name.
And it's what it said on the marquee, too.
I stayed fully clothed the entire time. We still did fine, but that kind of frightened me. There's lots of ways you could think of TNA, other than Tompkins and Adamson.
But where did Stuart
yeah,
tell
but that
us
actually
where?
came
Tell
from,
us.
that was my grandfather's cattle brand outside of Anson, Texas, just north of
The
Abilene.
Flyin A for the Adamsons.
And actually, we were trying to figure out
A name.
a name, and I had my dad's teenage boots, which have a Flyin A in them, up on our mantle. And it's like, well, let's just go with that. It came with a logo, has a story behind it.
And there's one more story associated.
Oh,
With Flyin A.
That story.
Yeah.
I try to forget that
When
story.
we got married, I decided to be alternative and took his last name, Hilary Claire Adamson. And then when we became the Flyin A's, things were going well. We were lucky enough to be a part of a documentary for 3 years called Folk that premiered at the Nashville Film Fest, but also at Kerrville. And we had reached a level we were touring internationally. And so it's kind of a business decision. You wait until it's time, and then you trademark your name and this and that. Well, we trademarked the Flyin A cattle brand for our band name, and only they send it out to the world, and they say, okay, does anyone protest this? The only people who protested it were the Oakland A's because they felt like they owned the first letter of the alphabet.
And there are A's, there's sports A's everywhere.
Oh,
there
yeah.
are A's
Anyway,
everywhere.
so 4 years later, and a lot of elbow grease and
It was frustrating.
lawyers'
but
fees, we settled out of court, and guess what? They don't own the first letter of the alphabet after all.
One of the
Share it. We can
one of
share
the
it.
weird stipulations is we're not allowed to sing the national anthem at a Major League baseball
Baseball
game
game.
Unless
without
we're-
being invited. And I didn't know you could do it without being invited, or I would have done it a long time ago. That just seems, this is ridiculous. Of course you're not going to do it without being invited.
And I had the idea of like asking to sing the national anthem at an Oakland A's game, but then try to sing it without any A's involved. Oh, see, can you see? Anyway, I didn't do it. Darn it. That would have been a good YouTube video.
Okay, so now tell us a little bit briefly about your music education. You have different but somewhat parallel musical backgrounds. Stuart, why don't you start? How did you develop your musical skills?
Because I'm really quiet, and I could go to parties and play guitars and that kind of stuff, and
Not have to talk.
not have to talk to anybody.
But still get the girl.
Apparently. But so I was 10 when I started playing guitar, and then I had a friend in the 8th grade who was starting to take guitar lessons, and I wasn't about to let him get better than me, and so I started taking lessons and started taking it more seriously. And
Played in bands with your dad, too.
I did. I played in
Yeah.
the country band with my dad when I was in high school, and then started writing songs then, and doing more solo stuff in college and that type of thing, where eventually I moved to Nashville for about 7 years and did my time there, which was amazing,
Yeah.
and I loved it, but it was time to go, I guess, and
Came back to Texas.
came back to Texas.
I appreciate that because I wouldn't have ever met you.
And then with Hilary, I was working on my second project, my second CD, and needed a harmony singer, and met her, and she stuck.
So, in your musical background, you have a formal education.
Well, shh, don't tell anyone.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I grew up singing in a Methodist church, and always wanted to do music. My mom, I just was looking through a baby book, and before I was even talking, I was making up songs. She had written that in my baby book. I was just looking for pictures for her celebration of life, and my parents wouldn't let us have MTV because they were frightened I'd become a musician. It didn't work. here I am. But my grandma Nisi was a jazz player. So I practiced piano in Texas, and then we drive 2 straight hours up I-35 to Minneapolis, Minnesota. And the first thing she'd do is sit me down at her piano. And she was a nurse anesthetist by day, piano player by night, jazz player. And she said, Hilary, why don't you play a song for me? And then she whispered in my ear, I hate children who don't practice. So needless to say, I would attempt it, and she'd scoot me right over and say, why don't you just sing along? And then she'd play these beautiful jazz tunes. So that's kind of where I think my roots are with music. When I turned 18, my dad looked me in the eye and he said, Hilary, you got to get yourself an education. I said, well, if I'm going to have to read that much, Dad, I'm going to study music. He looked at me and then laughed for a long time, and then a little bit longer. Gave me a few other suggestions, and when he realized I was serious, he says, how about music education? Because then you got a real skill. So I said, all right, Dad, the rebellious daughter I am. I said, if I'm going to have to read that much and study music education, I'm going to go off to the mountains. I'm going to go to the mountains. I'm going to explore. I'm going to find myself. He looked me right in the eye and he said, how about Lubbock, Texas? So now I'm a proud Red Raider. I have a BM, Bachelor of Music, with a teaching certificate. And got the opportunity to actually study all kinds of types of music. And much to my voice teacher's chagrin, was a backup singer for blues and country bands, and sang a little bit of jazz too, because she was more of a classical lady. So I went on to do that, and then after that was just a studio singer, actually. I sang harmony with bands and was a studio singer, and then wrote songs and sang to my dog until I went to Kerrville. And that's when this whole thing happened. And
Just exploded.
15 years later, we've toured the world with our music. So you just never know what's going to happen in life, man.
Right here in Kerrville.
I know.
Well, both of you write the songs that the two of you perform and record, and both of you have written songs about the road that you've taken to get where you are today. So, Hilary, would you pull out of your pocket one of your songs that's a little bit about that journey?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I got a song inspired by my first solo drive to Lubbock, Texas. I was driving in my 1982 Subaru station wagon that was supposed to be maroon, but by the time I got it, it was a pale pink. It had 4 rockin' cylinders in it. And I was doing my solo drive. I had arrived. I was no longer a hill country girl. I was a West Texas girl, because I saw my first tumbleweed. It was flying across the horizon, and I was like, yeah. And it was huge. It was like the size of a Volkswagen. And then the wind shifted, and it started blowing right towards me. That's when I heard my dad's voice in my head say, whatever you do, don't swerve. Just hit the pedal to the metal and go. So needless to say, I survived, and here's a song that came out of it off the latest album called Little Miss Tumbleweed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got a runaway heart, nothing to lose. Black tops calling her traveling shoes. Daddy's out catting, mama's home drinking. No sense crying, way past thinking. Windows down, gaining speed. All she knows is her heart needs an overload to set her free. Rolling on the breeze, little Miss Tumbleweed. A boyfriend back in town who's begging that girl to settle down. She can't cotton to barbed wire fences. She ain't coming to her senses. Windows down, gaining speed. All she knows is her heart needs an overload to set her free. Rolling on the breeze, little Miss Tumbleweed. fine as soon as she crosses the county line. Windows down, gaining speed. All she knows is her heart needs an overload to set her free. Rolling on the breeze, little Miss Tumbleweed. Austin, Texas, Santa Fe, to come carry Monterey, Coeur d'Alene, Sunnyside, Jackson Hole, tell you right.
Yeah. Okay, so Stuart, your turn.
Okay.
What's your journey song?
A journey song.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint of what Bill thinks your journey song
Okay,
is.
I'd love to hear it.
It's the one about Nashville.
Oh, Texas is my home.
Oh, that one. Oh, I almost never even do that one.
Bill.
I know.
All right,
Well,
Bill.
you know, he's reaching his hand over here, going, "Come on,
Yes.
Stuart, play that great song."
See if I can do it. Well, I will say, just a quick little story about this song is one of the reasons I think I moved back to Texas was because of this song. This song just kind of appeared. And I've tweaked it, of course, here and there, but here we go. Let's give it a shot. Well, I had dreams when I moved to this town. Thought I'd been around and paid my dues. But no one came out and said you ought to go back home. A seed was sown that said you're just no good. Somewhere I lost the music that was me. My melodies sat cold and stale. That's not to say that I was always down, 'cause I could hide my frown behind scotch and ale. But there's something about that seamless Texas sky and the joy it brings to my baby's eyes. It's a healing breeze that blows across the Texas plains. There's nothing like the smell of home, where the air feels clean and clears my head. This ain't my town, I'm going home. This town should be easier to pack up and leave. I just can't see why it's so hard. I know Austin's where I need to be to get back to me, to sing my songs. 'Cause there's something about that seamless Texas sky and and the sparkle it brings to my baby's eyes. It's a healing breeze that blows across the Texas plains. There's nothing like the smell of home, where the air feels clean and clears my head. This ain't my town, I'm going home. This ain't my town, I'm going home. I had dreams when I moved to this town. Thought I'd been around.
Oh. Well, before we go any further, I would like to see, is there anybody in the audience that has a question they would like to ask of Hilary and or Stuart? No questions? Gosh, you guys. It's kind of mesmerizing, isn't it? Okay, well, we're going to move on then. Recently, many of us were glued to PBS watching the new Ken Burns country music series. I don't know if you two had the opportunity to watch any of it, but it certainly featured a lot of our heroes and even some of our friends. And one of the things that we kept hearing repeatedly is that whether it's called country music, folk music, or Americana, or roots music, whatever term you want to call it, it's really much about storytelling. And I'm betting that you would agree with that. And so what I'd like to ask that you do is, and you guys have several of these, so pick out a story song. And first tell us where the story came from, and then and how did it end up growing up to be a song? Which one?
I have a song. I have
Okay.
a song that Hilary and I had gone out to. We'd gone out to Ocean City, New Jersey, and flew in and out of Philadelphia. Hilary had never been to Philadelphia before. I'd been there a few times. So on the way back, we planned an extra day, a whole day, to go see all the sights and then go have a nice romantic dinner and then and then fly home the next morning. And everything went really well until dinner, and then things turned pretty bad. Sometimes life can get pretty real.
It's a growth opportunity.
And that's what happened with this. But by the time we were dropping the car off and stuff, we'd made up. But both of us were just exhausted because we basically didn't get any sleep, and we'd worked through whatever it was we needed to work through. And so the plane had just taken off, and I'm looking out the window down at the trees down there, and she'd fallen asleep right here. And that's where I started writing this song. And I will say that I reference Phoenix in this song, because the worst flight we ever flew was a flight. Were we coming home from Hawaii? Why were we flying
Far
through
west.
Phoenix?
It was Far West when we did Far West.
Was that what it
Alliance.
was?
Yeah, and we were coming back. It's one of those flights where it almost doesn't get off the runway. Ooh. And then about halfway.
And it never seemed to get better. I mean,
halfway here, they start doing this, testing the engines, and it gets real bouncy, and it gets so bad that everyone just gets silent on the plane, actually. That's never good.
And even the flight crew was just totally pale.
When we landed, it felt like
we
that was kind of...
We got home safely, but everyone on the plane
I
was
tried
going
to joke with the
so
stewardesses,
weird.
and they were all sitting in the seats in first class, just pale as... I don't know what happened.
But anyway, that has nothing to do with the song, other than I was going what's something that was a horrible experience that I'm going to put in here. So that's just a little side note. Anyway, here we go. 30,000 feet above the forest, wondering if there's any love left for us. Flying high always gets me down. Putting so many miles between us, this time all the way to Phoenix. One more night in one more lonesome town. I can't shake the words you told me when I just needed you to hold me. Real but painful things needed to be said. Now I'm strapped in a seat that won't recline, and I can't shake from my mind. I wish that I was lying in our bed. We started out free and easy, every day so light and breezy, but life turned around the bend, and the honeymoon had to end. So now with all the dreams we've chased and all the truth we've had to face, have we reached a point where no one needs to win? 'Cause I got a feeling that's where real love begins. As soon as these wings are touching down and my feet are back on solid ground, and I say all the things I need to say, I'll reach out across the line and give you my heart one more time, if you'll say yes to meeting me halfway. We started out free and easy, every day so light and breezy, but life turned around the bend, and the honeymoon had to end. So now with all the dreams we've chased and all the truth we've had to face, have we reached a point where no one needs to win? 'Cause I've got a feeling that's where real love begins. Yeah, I got a feeling that's where real love begins.
Oh,
True story.
I love that song. I really do. It's great. Anybody have a question that they would like to ask them?
Okay. Oh, there's one. Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Oh, wait, before you ask, we're going to bring you the microphone so we can hear it on the video, too.
I guess I was going to ask, when did you write your first song, or when did you both start writing your own songs?
I was in high school, I think, when I started.
Are you asking like good song?
Yeah.
I'm asking
Or
like
just any
what you
songs.
consider your first song to be, because I know for everyone it's like, well, this was my first real song, but like your first song that you consider your first.
It was probably college. I mean, I definitely started writing songs before that, but that was when I started taking things a little more seriously.
I was in a passenger van on a family trip with my parents' best friend's kids, and I won't say their names, but one of the little boy was just like, he did not listen to anything his parents said, and he was screaming at the top of his lungs, and my dad was trying to drive this 8 or 10 passenger van, and my dad turns around at one point and goes, "So-and-so, you're cruising for a bruising." And I was like, oh. And so me and his big sister, this was my first song ever. You're cruising for a bruising on top of the car with your pants pulled down in the middle of the town. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not saying it's appropriate or good. And then we made up a bunch of random verses. And then I also used to do radio shows with my friends. And I made up a jingle because Milky Way was my favorite, and this is it. Needless to say, I'm not a jingle writer. Milky, Milky, Milky Way, Milky, Milky Way. That was it. Those are my first 2 songs.
That's pretty.
I moved up in the world.
Yeah.
Like I said, don't be afraid to start anywhere.
You had some room to grow.
Yeah. And then, yeah. So there.
Did that answer your question?
So I forgot y'all were filming this.
Oh, man.
No one was injured in the Cruisin' Fur Bruises. No one was bruised. It was just us being annoying kids.
Yeah. Thank you for your question. That was a great
That was a great question.
Yeah. So every songwriter can talk about great songwriters who have either mentored them or influenced them. So play us a song that connects you with someone, a songwriter that has inspired you either from your catalog or from theirs.
Oh.
Interesting. Well, actually, when I was in North Carolina, my dad worked at a little college there, Warren Wilson College, a little Presbyterian school. And there was a guy there who was actually married to the president's daughter, a guy named Billy Ed Wheeler. And Billy Ed wrote like Jackson for Johnny Cash, and he had a bunch. Elvis, Glenn Campbell, tons and tons and tons of folks. In fact, I got kicked out of my first recording studio. We were visiting them in Nashville, and he had taken in some rewrites or something for a guy named Bobby Goldsboro. And back then, now they multi-track everything, and you can go in and redo parts. Back then, they did it all at the same time. This would have been in the 60s at some point. And the engineer heard a noise and just stopped the whole thing. And I think they ended up deciding that I was the one who had made the noise. And I wasn't out there. I was, we were in the studio.
How old were you?
Oh, like 3 or 4 maybe? I don't remember. I was pretty young. And but anyway, that got kicked out of my first recording studio at that age.
Billy Ed. And we've done a couple of his tunes. We
have one on our current record, and we have one on the upcoming record.
Oh, so do you want to play us one?
Yeah,
Which
sure.
one do you think?
I would say do the one on the upcoming album.
Okay.
All right.
Traveling down that cold town road, listen to my rubber tires whine. It's goodbye to Buckeye and White Sycamore, I'm leaving you behind. 'Cause I've been a cold man all of my life, laying down, tracking a hole. Got a back like ironwood, bent by the wind, blood veins blue as the coal. Somebody said that's a strange tattoo you have on the side of your head. I say that's the blueprint left by the cold, just a little more and I'll be dead. But I love the rumble, I love the dark, I love the cool of the slate. And it's on down a new road, looking for a job, it's traveling and looking I hate. Well, I stood for the union, walked the line, I fought against the company. I stood for the UMW of A, now who's gonna stand for me? I've got no house and I got no pay, just got a worried soul. And this blue tattoo on the side of my head, left by the number 9 code. Someday when I die, I'll go to heaven, the land of my dreams. I won't have to worry about losing my job to bad times or big machines. I'm not gonna pay my money away on dues or hospital plans. Gonna pick white coal as the blue heavens roll and sing with the angel band. I'm not gonna pay my money away on dues or hospital plans. Gonna pick white gold as the blue heavens roll and sing with the angel band. Sing with the angel band. Billy Edwards song.
Wow. That's a cool song.
It's a cool song, yeah.
Okay, anybody in the audience have a question before we move on?
All
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. You said you toured in other countries before.
Yes.
I was wondering what I guess a record label are you guys with?
We are 100% independent.
Oh.
So we're Flyin A Productions. We're our own. We are 100% in-house. Like you're looking at it. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Have y'all ever been to Nashville?
We have been to Nashville. As a matter of fact, we were just talking with a friend. We used to go to Nashville and have meetings actually up until the last 4 or 5 years. And a lot of our business is still connected to Nashville, but to be honest, we do a lot overseas. It's kind of been the latest thing for us. It's been going well, so we've been kind of hanging on that. But yeah, we do have a lot of friends in Nashville, and a lot of people in Austin will be like, oh, Nashville, whatever. Nah, Nashville's awesome. We really like it. Yeah.
Okay. And how did the people in those other countries, like in New Zealand, how do they how do they like your music?
They love Texas music.
Yeah, we're lucky, y'all. Everyone likes Texas music. It seems like so. It's like I said, when we first met, we just really wanted to get across like the state line to get to another state, and it's taken us crazy places, and we've always been so far so good. Which I'm gonna knock on some wood.
There's wood right here.
Oh, wood right here, yeah. The blonde on the stage. But yeah, we've been lucky enough that there's a rich heritage of music here, and my dad got me here as soon as he could, and I'm so thankful. And we're lucky enough to be a part of it, and people love Texans in general, whether you play music or not. So if you haven't traveled abroad, I highly recommend it because it's pretty cool.
Thank you for your questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so here's another question we like to ask. Since most of the people in this audience are connected with Schreiner University, where we spend a lot of time in exploration of vocational discernment, tell us, do you feel like you chose to be a songwriter, or did it choose you? Is this a calling?
I've tried to quit multiple times.
Really?
That's true. And I was never able to do it for very long.
Wow.
Well, and music completely chose me. I mean, my dad sincerely laughed for a very long time, and then he was like, "You'll be a nurse.
Well,
You'll be a doctor. You'll be a lawyer."
You didn't even do choir in school
I didn't
until
even
like
do.
you
I
were
did church
senior
choir,
year.
but I didn't even do official choir until I was a senior in high school because I thought, well, geez, if I'm going to study music, I should actually like take a class. So.
But you played piano.
I did. I took piano lessons as
Yeah.
a little kid, but this is the funny part. I quit piano for sports. So I was too busy playing volleyball, basketball, and track to do music. So besides at church, I did it at church the whole time. So music is a calling for me anyways. I can't speak for others. And I've been lucky enough my dad was one of the first in his family to go to college. And so I knew it was an honor to go. And to get the chance. It's not that he didn't want to do music. He just was looking at me and he thought, as a young woman, you want to have options. You want to have a place to go just in case things don't go as planned in a relationship or in life. And the music education was a really great idea. And actually, I've taught on and off my whole music career. I love teaching young artists, young kids, you name it, I love doing it. I love sharing ideas and inspiration. And one thing about music is that it provides an opportunity to connect with people that I would never, like going to New Zealand, people I would never have had the chance to meet. And there's been times in my life I've walked off stage or been teaching a songwriting class or even teaching in a school, and I have a side conversation that just changes my life. And there's a few times I've been lucky enough to have a conversation with someone where maybe even some of the things I've been through have been able to inspire them to make it one more day or a new perspective where things may seem dark, and be able to have a chance to be a little bit of light, just like people have been for me. And music really, it's a lot cheaper than therapy, writing songs. And, it's definitely been a calling for me since I was very young, and I can't explain it. But I knew I was going to have to work hard at it, as hard as my dad laughed. And so far, so good.
Yeah.
You do have to work. It's not easy.
No, it's not.
It takes a lot of work
But
on all sorts of levels.
you work real hard to get a place like this, and to get to share songs and conversations.
Yeah.
It's all worth it.
Well, I know that you guys have often been very deliberate about creating time and space to write. So would you talk about that? And although each experience in the creative process of writing a song is unique, some come as a gift, and others are product of protracted labor.
Oh, some are really hard.
Oh, yeah. So for the sake of the audience, and especially our students who might aspire to be songwriters, could you take one of your recent creations and talk us through the process? Not only in terms of what inspired the song, but literally give us a picture or a vignette of what the steps look like. How long did it take? How did you actually go about constructing that song?
And can it be short? I mean,
Sure.
as far as the story is short, or, because there are those that come quick and there
Hey,
are those
it's your
that take a long
question.
time.
It's your question.
How
What do you-
about letting go?
So this is what I will say. Each and every one of you is a songwriter. There are melodies that are floating around us all the time that pop in your head. And if you just take time to listen, that's what Woody Guthrie used to say. Mm-hmm. If you just take time to listen, anyone in here can do it. And as a person who's had the chance to be part of music education as well as performance, is don't ever let someone tell you that you can't be a fabulous musician, whether you read notes or not. We're friends with quite a few Grammy-winning artists who don't read a lick of music, but can play anything and are at the highest level.
And I know some very successful songwriters that don't play any instruments. And it's not just words, they're working with the melodies and other things as
Yep.
well.
So I want to say that first of all. Mm-hmm. And it's different for everyone. So this song is Letting Go. It's a new song. And what we do, because we're independent, so like you look at my website, there's probably a few things misspelled because I'm dyslexic and high energy, and I can't always see it. So please send me an email, let me know, because I want to know it doesn't hurt my feelings. But I do all the web design, I do all the publicity. We pay for a producer because that's how we like to work. But you see something out there, it's us. There's no one behind the mask or the curtain. So one way I process the world around me is through music. And recently we've had a few losses. We've started doing this over the last 5 or 6 years. Because there's always a million things in the air that we're juggling, we've learned it's best to just unplug, literally. So we try to go to someplace remote where we can go to a cabin. We write music all day. Takes probably 3 or 4 days just to brush off the city and the to-do list and to let things come through. This song came through as like a ton of bricks and was a song that I didn't even know. It was a song that was inspired by the loss of a brother-in-law and a close friend's spouse, and I had no idea this song was going to be the one that would lead me through the loss of my mom just 10 weeks ago. So it's called Letting Go. It's going to be on the new album, and it's a song about loving someone so much and the chance to walk with them as they progress and cross to the next life or
Wherever
heaven,
they're going.
whatever you believe. I believe my mom's still here with me. As Slim Ritchie, Sarah Elizabeth Campbell, Jimmy LaFave. I've never been good at letting go. Now all I've got left My whole world is laying right in front of me. Lover, best friend, we built this family. With all the praying and effort, saving your time has come to go. As I feel you leaving, I can't help grieving the rising of your soul. I've never been good at letting go. This time my heart, it just seems to know. Your broken body's a vessel that brought you to me. Now that hard time has come to let you finally break free. With all the praying and effort, saving your time has come to go. As I feel you leaving, I can't help pleading for the rising of your soul. I've never been good at letting go, but deep down inside something stirs in my soul. Your fire for life, love and laughter too. These three things I swear I'll carry on for you. With all the praying and effort, saving your time has come to go. As I feel you leaving, last breath, you're breathing the rising of your soul.
Oh, that is such a powerful song.
I still have trouble singing it.
I
I'm
know.
working on
I
it.
was
I'm
having a
working on
hard
it.
time with
And
myself. but-
I'll be honest, I just was sitting in a room and kind of came out. The whole song is just 3 chords. And then actually the realization, I love making friends and I love knowing new people. And Bill Ward and I remember a conversation of us in the back of the Wildflower Festival. We were singing. We had lost this amazing man, Al Johnson. And I was telling them, we got there a few days early. We got to close the songwriter stage for him in Al's honor. And I just said, I'm not good at letting go. I love knowing people, and I'm just not good at goodbyes. We have lots of I'll see you laters, but I have had really struggled with letting go and losing those that we love when they go to the next place. And this song came from that place. And what's interesting is I have not been able to sing it until Welcome Home Fest, actually.
Yeah.
I did it there, and I barely made it through it. But as I started trying to sing the song, you sing the tears out of it. And actually, the song is about processing the letting go. And I didn't even realize that it was going to be a healing song for me as I walked this with my mom and my dad. So songs can kind of save your heart too. So that one just kind of came to me. What's one that you had to work hard on, Stuart?
Well, talk about the process of editing. You know, sometimes songs just fall out of the sky into your heart.
Yep.
And they come right through your guitar, all in one piece.
Sometimes you have two songs that are just not working, and you realize, ooh, we need to trash that set of words, keep that chord progression, and make a whole new, take this other set of
Or
words
just
and
take
throw
the
it
two
together.
songs and put them together, and it's
Smash
like,
them
oh,
together.
whoa.
Keep a notebook, and no idea is a bad idea. And also, when you're rewriting, if you want to, put a line through it, but never erase it, never scribble it out. And then keep those songbooks, because those writings, or I do it better when I write. I don't do as well on the computer because I delete things. So, but you could go back 5 years ago and get a new song idea from it. Like you've got a wealth of information in your head, and just because a song starts out one way, it could end up a completely different song. You could co-write with others. Don't be afraid to do it. And this is what I find about co-writing. 9 times out of 10, we get something pretty cool. Every once in a while, I have a song idea I bring to the table, and then the person's like, well, we should take it this way. And in my head, I'm like, oh, no, it shouldn't go this way. And we agree to disagree, and then we write 2 separate songs. But, I wish there was a secret to it, but I don't think there is. I think you just have to open your heart and your mind and not be afraid. I think so many times we're afraid of judging ourselves right away. And sometimes the coolest ideas are the weirdest ones.
So talk a little bit about, Stuart, how much time do you spend editing and polishing a song? And has that changed over time? Do you find it takes longer now to call a song finished?
I don't know the answer to that question. That's a hard question, because sometimes they come and they're fairly complete, and sometimes there's just a few lines that just aren't working, and you tried totally different verses and different this and different that.
You sang the one that is on the new album for me, didn't you? That one about...
No, we haven't done that one yet.
Oh, okay.
But it's another slow one. I was trying to figure out,
A rocker.
we need to pick up the tempo just a little bit, keep y'all's interest where it needs to go.
So Little Miss Tumbleweed was 2 different songs. We had one chord progression with a whole nother verse,
But
or a whole nother subject matter. But
yeah, and but I was actually thinking of Heartbreaks.
yeah,
Because that was
Yeah.
that was one of those where we were up in the mountains in Colorado, and I was just trying to come up with something that's a little more up tempo, and then it just kind of started, and then actually
then you got stuck on the bridge.
sometimes I'll start with like a hook, the hook line or the title from the get-go. And sometimes the title just kind of falls out, like it did on that Where Real Love Begins. That line just came out. But it's like, I love this.
Yeah. And for Heartbreaks, he was like, I want to write this song about heartbreaks, and I was like, I don't know.
I'd kind of already started it, and
But now I love it.
yeah, and then we do work together. Sometimes it's fairly separate, and sometimes it's fairly together.
Do you want to do Heartbreaks?
Sure. So here's
a fun little. There's plenty of room on the dance floor. Shuffle for you.
We met flying down the road at 90 miles an hour. Since then we've been pushing full horsepower. Now I'm not sure how you're looking at me, 'cause girl, you're in the driver's seat. Honey, don't hit your heartbreaks. That would be a big, bad mistake. Don't hit your heartbreaks, don't hit your heartbreaks. Thought we were cruising down Lover's Way, burning rubber in a 63 Stingray. So let's lean back and enjoy this ride, 'cause what we got can't be denied. Honey, don't hit your heartbreaks. That would be a big, bad mistake. Don't hit your heartbreaks, don't hit your heartbreaks. Red lights are only a suggestion. Crossroads, honey, just an intersection. You struck me like a hit and run. I'll keep on, but baby, this is too much fun. Honey, don't hit your heartbreaks. That would be a big, bad mistake. Don't hit your heartbreaks, don't hit your heartbreaks. No, don't hit your heartbreaks. That would be a big, bad mistake. Don't hit your heartbreaks, don't hit your heartbreaks. Don't hit your heartbreaks, don't hit your heartbreaks. Don't hit your heartbreaks, don't hit your heartbreaks.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, I need a tune.
So was the bridge the last part you finished?
Yeah, probably.
And I was like, let's break some laws. Red lights are on.
I like that. Okay, so here's a question we get to ask you guys because of the special circumstance that you're both writers and you perform these songs together.
Yeah.
So Stuart, what is your favorite Hilary song and why?
Oh, I don't know.
That's Stuart's question.
I know. I'm nervous.
You know, there are a lot that I absolutely love and adore. I think maybe one of the first ones that she sent, which we did, she wrote it and then we kind of tweaked it together. There's a song called "Killing Me."
First song I ever wrote on guitar. Probably my first real song.
Do you want to play it?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know how to fight this fight. This way of living don't seem right. And when your wars have had their run, I don't think anybody's won. But I don't want to let you go. I just had to let you know. This is killing me. Your world seems desperate, dark and cold. You're lashing out to gain control. But I am not the one to blame. I'm only taking on your pain. But I don't want to let you go. I just had to let you know. This is killing me. Yeah, this is killing me. walls in me have taken time. With stone and steel I've tried to hide, but now we've got both yours and mine, and they're growing hard to climb. Killing me. This is killing me. Yeah, this is killing me.
So beautiful.
Oh, there's an upper for you.
Okay, so
Yes.
what's your favorite Stuart song?
Now the pressure's
Well,
on.
one reason I think why I love that song so much is when we were just corresponding and about having her maybe come and sing on the record and stuff, and she sent me this CD of songs. And
I was so
you
frightened.
often hear songs from people, but when I heard these songs, I was hearing the record of it. I mean, I was hearing all these parts where all this stuff could go, and that excited me actually a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I knew, my dog Savannah Dana loved everything I wrote. I mean, she was a fan of mine, and I sent him a CD I'd made in my little office. I'd sent to him in a public mail receptacle because I knew it was against the law to shove my arm in and grab it. And I remember just sweating bullets and just that weird feeling where your stomach turns why did I just do that? He's gonna hate it. And I will say that fear of the unknown, y'all, if you really feel it in your heart to do something, there's that fear of I could never do it. You know what? It is worth it to blast through that fear. And I know it sounds easier said than done, but if there's something you're inspired to do, that fear of just doing something because you care so much and you want to do it sometimes can hold us back. And it had held me back for a long time. And walking into the Kerrville community showed me that there were people that were out there that were open-hearted, open-minded, and maybe I'd have a place as a songwriter in a community. So anyway, my favorite song of Stuart's.
Hopefully it's one I know.
I will say Texas as My Home is one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He woke up one morning and that song was in his head, he said, and then he thought, I better move back. So thank you to that song, because otherwise I wouldn't have a husband. I met him when he moved back from Nashville. Two wrongs make it right. I like that one.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, go for it.
When I told my dad my new business plan, I said, Dad, I'm quitting my full-time teaching job. I'm moving in with my boyfriend, and I'm going to play music.
I was really popular. He came around, but it seemed to take forever for him to come around.
And this is a song called Two Wrongs Make It Right.
Dixie was a waitress at the corner cafe, a little wild in her younger days. Talking that town, followed her around like a hungry homeless stray. Darryl drove a wrecker for the Texaco. Trouble was his only friend. A bad hellraiser, stock car racer, living for the wild weekend. Just a bite to eat in the middle of the week. Small talk for a bed, small change for the tale. Two wrongs will make it right with true love. Make sure mine. Folks say they're up to no good, maybe they're misunderstood. This time they both see the light, and two wrongs will make it right. Carol said, Dixie, are you free tonight? She said, free as a law laugh. Threw her apron on her chair, shook down her hair. Dixie said, let's go right now. Record lights flashing, radio blasting, ended up at 95. Las Vegas in the sights at the chapel that night. Found Daryl and his waitress bride. And everybody said they were out of their heads, that it would never last. But 30 years had passed. Two wrongs will make it right. With true love, they sure might. Folks say they're up to no good, maybe they're misunderstood. This time they've both seen the light, and two wrongs will make it right. Make it right with true love, they sure might. Folks say they're up to no good, maybe they're misunderstood. This time they've all seen the light, and two wrongs will make it right. Two wrongs made it right.
Stuart Adamson. Woo! I love that tune.
We don't do it very often anymore.
I know. I'm trying to think if I've heard that before. I might not.
You might not have.
He
We don't do
he
it
always
often.
says no, but see, we had pressure. The
Yeah, he did. He had to.
He had to.
Well, you two live and work in Austin, a place that seems to be this primordial soup of creative energy. Who are some emerging songwriters and musicians that you've heard lately that you think might appeal to the audience of the student age group here? And what is it that you're seeing and hearing in them that is compelling?
Jamie Harris is amazing.
Isn't she?
Yes, and we've known her for a long time. Another person, Rachel Lavin Purcell, who she just moved over to England for a year, but she'll be back. She's worth checking out. Both really amazing songwriters.
Yeah, Ben Jones and Andrea Beetroot.
Ben Jones and Andrea McGee are two good friends of ours. They're a duo called Beetroot, and they do crazy cool stuff, high energy, and the musicianship. They're the kindest people ever. All these people are super cool people. So if you get to see them, go chat with them. Tell them we sent you. You just say we're friends. They don't care who you're friends with. They want to be friends with you. They're really cool. Another guy named Pat Byrne. Mm-hmm. He is a rock star voice.
Yeah, all these people just played too.
Yeah.
Actually, they were still. Yeah,
they were all at Welcome Home Fest. If you guys
and
missed
we know
it,
them from
you
Austin.
missed it.
We know them from Austin. What else is going on?
I don't know. There's so many good
It's
people.
amazing.
Those are a list right there that you can't go wrong with checking out.
Yeah, and just hanging out at your house on your Saturday parties.
We actually have potlucks.
Yeah.
We have a lot of songwriters that come too. So if you're ever in town, email us through the website or get a card because you're always welcome at a potluck if we're having one.
Well, as you can tell, these folks are very plugged into the songwriting community, and no big surprise, you're just so kind and gregarious and talented and all those kind of things. And we also know that you have been a mentor to some very good songwriters, and this audience includes folks who may aspire to be a songwriter. Hilary's told you that anyone here can write a song or be a performer. So what advice would you give to them, especially what should they focus on in preparing and building their capacity?
just don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to play out. But also just don't be afraid to put too much of you into the song too. I think that was one of the hardest things that am still working on, is making them just as real as possible. And if you're putting in real experiences, that's going to make them more real. And how can you choose the words that convey that, which is the hardest part of all of it? I think it was Guy Clark, I think, might have said, it's not what you put into a song that's hard, is what you have to leave out. Because there's so much. What are the details that are going to make it work, and what are the details that are going to, just drive it home?
And I would say, just your voice, your heart, and your mind, and what you have to share is so valid and so important. And if you find a place where you try to share it and people aren't listening, my thought around that is, it's not you, it's the group you're with. So don't be afraid to branch to another, and that's easier said than done. Also, when you're stretching yourself, surround yourself with people who support you. I just had written a post about it. As things move up, as levels go up, as you find success, sometimes it gets harder, and there are certain people that will bring you down. So, of course, you want a good friend who can tell you honest feedback. I'm not saying to avoid being told anything that could be constructive to move you forward. But I would say that there are people out there that want to hear what you have to say, that want to hear your voice. There's so many positive people who are there to support you. You just might not have found them yet. And I will say that before I walked into this community, I was like a little lone ranger, playing my little songs to my dog. I had studied music and then was just teaching music and singing other people's stuff. And I took a chance. And remember, most of us didn't just stand up and walk across the room gracefully as children. We bit it a few times. But when you're little, you don't know the difference. You just want to get there. And I would say that embrace that, because we all can get better, and you have to start somewhere. And don't be afraid of not being great yet. Remember that. Not being great yet. When I get no from a festival or a venue, I always think to myself, no for now. Then I might follow up with a question, hey, what do we need to work on to get to your main stage? This is the trick. Be careful, because they'll tell you. But so that's my advice. The fear of the unknown can be hard, but there are people out there that want to hear what you have to say. And if you feel that inner calling to do it, let it rip. That's you kind of get addicted to just like jumping off the unknown cliff sometimes too. It can be pretty exciting.
And luck is a lot of hard work. Hard work and being in the right place at the right time, but that's getting out and just making sure that you're ready when those opportunities do.
You see someone play a cool lick on guitar, ask them how they do it. You see an artist you like, go up and introduce yourself. Hi, I'm so-and-so, I really like this song. So many of the Texas artists are so approachable. Mm-hmm. And especially if you're an aspiring songwriter. I mean, I do all kinds of, when I have time, I do as much as I can for anyone who's trying to get into it, because people did it for me. Yeah. So that's that.
Okay. Anybody in the audience have a question that they would like to ask before we kind of go into wrap up?
I have a question.
Oh, wait, Kathy.
Let
her bring the microphone.
But the video thing won't pick you up, I think.
I think I have a couple questions. And one thing that you were saying earlier when you were talking about, someone said something about going to Nashville, and then you said, well, that's where we go because we have a lot of business there. And I think there's got to be a lot of business these days, and especially with all the stuff going on for legalities. Even the thing you went through with the Flyin A's thing, those kind of, bumps in the road, and there's so many people trying to represent people who are doing this now. Have you run into any of that? Or what kind of business do you have that you take care of in Nashville, if I'm maybe so nosy? But
Oh, well, we were meeting with our publishing company. We were pitching songs, working with other songwriters, working that end of it. And one thing that's so cool is being an independent artist, we don't really need that anymore. We kind of have, we've kind of created our own little niche, and we kind of roll how we roll. Not to say we wouldn't love to go to Nashville and sell a song, and we're talking about actually kind of going back that route to meet with some people too. So, but that's kind of what you do. You experience that. Plus, there's a lot of really great songwriting happening, and it's not just country music. They've got a lot of really cool stuff coming out of there, like hip hop and you name it. It's a pretty awesome community, and the arts there are just exploding. So,
Does that answer your question?
yes.
Yay!
Yes, it did.
Do you have any other questions?
Well, anybody else have a question? Okay, so I want to thank our audience, especially the students that are here. Hope you've enjoyed it. And I would like to ask you once again to thank our guests, Hilary and Stuart Adamson.
Thank you all.
The Flyin A. So send us on our way with one more song.
What do you want to do?
Well, I was thinking more of a slow one. Today does happen to be our anniversary.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
15 years putting up with this.
And
you should give him a big round of applause for that.
This song, if she lets me do it, is going to be on the new record. Okay. And it was a song that I started right when Hilary and I first started dating, and it got lost. I don't know why. It was in a legal pad.
I thought you did this one already.
No, we did it at sound check.
Oh, perfect.
I don't think we've done it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Well, we'll kick it off, and then y'all cheer real loud if we have done it.
And but it was one of those songs where I was just cleaning something up, found it was like, oh, whoa, I like this, and then I finished it. It didn't take much finishing. There wasn't that much more to do. Just a little bit of fine tuning here or there.
But he lost the yellow pad he had written it on.
Or misplaced because it
and
was
then he found it again. So hold on to all those song ideas.
And that's true too. But anyway, here's a song that goes out to my wife on our anniversary.
Aww.
Waking up with her and a steaming cup of coffee, a sleepy kiss as we pick up our guitars. Our voices crack, we smile and just start laughing. It's time for work, but she makes leaving hard. As I shave, I can hear her voice ringing like a band of angels pouring out for me. Well, all I want to do is touch her body. Lord, I love the way that girl sings. She gives me that something I thought I'd never find, like the gentle swaying of a front porch swing. With her, my feet are planted firmly on the ground. She feels like home to me. She feels like home to me. I watch her as she yawns and puts on makeup. I sit down and strum a few more chords. finds a melody and words for a chorus. We can't stop to make ourselves walk out the door. She gives me that something I thought I'd never find, like the gentle swaying of a front porch swing. With her, my feet are planted firmly on the ground. She feels like home to me. She feels like home to me. She feels like home to me.
Thank you, folks. So very
Well, thank
much.
you.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you all.